can't pour from an empty cup. And before you give love to anybody else, you have to truly love yourself. And I think the easiest way to love yourself as a man is to be proud of yourself. And to be proud of yourself, you have to decide who you want to be inside of the metaverse, inside of the matrix. You have to decide the character you want to be and try your best to achieve it.
Why do you think people struggle with being proud of themselves?
I think because they know they're failing. I think that most people failing in life know very well they're failing. And it doesn't matter what avatar you decide to absorb or who you decide to be. You can decide to be it, and you know true in your heart if you're giving 100% of your energy towards becoming it or not. It doesn't matter if you want to become a famous musician. Doesn't matter if you want to become a bodybuilder. Doesn't matter if you want to become a pro fighter. Doesn't matter what you want to be. You know in your heart if you're actually trying it. You have to decide what you want to be and try and become it. And a lot of the people who are genuinely unhappy or miserable in their hearts know they're not trying that hard.
Well, and I think they also focus on what everyone else is doing right or wrong, and then judging outward, and everyone's like focused on this outward reflection of like what that person has and versus what they don't have. And it's all just like this just cycle of negativity.
Completely.
And it's just, we found ourselves, especially with social media nowadays, we found ourselves like most people, because maybe they're not mentally strong enough to understand like, oh, wait, I need to create my own value instead of looking outwards. How do you think we fix it?
Successful is all about self-definition, which is what I was saying at the beginning. You have to decide who you want to be. And if you wanted to be Joe Schmo and you pull it off, then you'll be a pretty happy, content person. To decide who you want to be. I think the people who are miserable, it's the gap between their expectations and their reality. That's where the misery lies.
Yeah.
My expectations were always enormously high. Even when I was a nobody, I knew I had to be filthy rich and a kickboxer. At the age of 15, I knew that if I'm the kind of guy that if I raise my voice, people are going to care. I'm not going to be the guy who starts shouting and everyone thinks it's funny. I know I'm going to be the kind of guy who is genuinely a formidable opponent in all realms of human endeavor. I know I'm going to have money. People who are miserable are the people who don't try hard enough to obtain it, because I actually believe, and this is another thing I'll say, I believe the universe is very giving. I think the universe and God himself is very giving. I've yet to meet somebody in all my years who is genuinely giving 100% of themselves day after day, doesn't snake anyone, firm handshake, look you in the eye, doesn't lie to nobody, and tries 100% who doesn't get what they want. I've never seen it. Every single person who doesn't have what they want, there's something in their story that doesn't quite add up. I've yet to see some guy have you ever seen a guy who eats right and trains off and never misses a gym session, ever not grow? It's just, that's the way the universe works, right? So if you're truly about it and you're truly trying your absolute best, you're going to do it. And that's what I believe. I believe the universe is extremely giving. So when I meet somebody and they go, I really wanted this and I don't have it, I say, you didn't really want it.
All like the successful people, most successful people in the world, would you say that all of them have like something in common in the sense of like some sort of hardship in their life? It's not.
I mean, trauma is extremely important. And this actually goes back into answering the first part of your question, which is interesting. There's a study I read about stress, and it was saying that stress has a placebo effect attached to it, because the placebo effect is extremely powerful. So they found some of the most stressed people in the world, and they split them into two groups, and they're all equally stressed. They all have a bunch of cortisol in their blood. People who believed that stress was bad for you and that stress can hurt you, and they believed those media articles, were dying earlier. They were having heart attacks and they're having stress-related illnesses. The people who believed the opposite, who just said, stress is part of being successful. I like stress. When I feel stressed, I do my best. It makes me anxious. It turns my brain on. I like being stressed. Lived longer than average. Point is, the same drug, how you look at it and how your body anticipates it, how you feel about it, affects the real world results, which goes back into what you were saying earlier about the jealousy. You're saying people look on social media and they get jealous and it demotivates them. That's because they decide to be demotivated by it. Do you know what happens when I get jealous of somebody? I can beat them. If I look at somebody who has something I ain't got, I will take it from them by hook or by crook. Love it. I wish someone could make me jealous. It's hard now. I got everything.
Jealousy is the #1 bark for motivation.
Well, I don't think motivation is a real thing. I don't believe in motivation as a concept. I think discipline is real, and I also think discontentment is real. And I don't think it's possible for anybody to stay in a scenario where they're truly uncomfortable. If you fall asleep on your arm and your arm really starts to hurt, even in the deepest sleep, you're going to wake up and move your arm. If you sit there and your life has been in a rut for 7 years, you are semi-comfortable in that rut. Sure, there's days you're pissed off. Sure, you're semi-annoyed by it. But there's also days where you just play video games, eat pizza, and you're kind of cool with it, and it's no big deal. If you were truly unhappy and uncomfortable and discontent with your scenario, you wouldn't be in it. So I don't believe there's anybody who's truly, when I was broke, I couldn't sleep. I was saying that, please understand me. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. I'd be trying to go to bed thinking, how these people have Ferraris. I want a Ferrari. I couldn't sleep.
People aren't taught to be self-aware anymore. People are taught to just like I said, look at that guy, what he has, and be mad that you don't have it. Or like, if something's going on with me, I don't want to look inside and say, what's actually happening with me? Why am I this way? Why am I the person that I am today? But I want to figure out deeply, how do you think a man, specifically in this case, is able to look at themselves more comfortably without holding the judgment, the fact that they don't have the stuff over themselves?